DC Fandome 2021 is in the books, and like last year, there is no shortage of earth-shattering content to discuss, earth-shattering Batman content to discuss. I don't want to waste any time with like pre-jargon. There are certain topics that like we all just get super fired up to discuss, and this is one of them. DC waited till the end of their show to show the new trailer for the Batman. We're not going to do that. We're going to start our show with the Batman, and we're going to go to Kelly first. Kelly, give me your take, thoughts, level of excitement, everything that went through your mind, body, and soul when you watched this brand new trailer for the Batman.
Well, so this was the main event of DC Fandome, as you mentioned, and it was the main event for very good reason. This trailer was awesome. We were just talking before we jumped on the show that all of us have, we're responsible for the view count on that YouTube video, just climbing and climbing. Yeah, actually, I'll say I watched it the first time and it was like so much to take in that I kind of like, my fiance turned to me and was like, so what did you think? And I was like, I need to watch it again. I need to, like, that was just the first thing that I came away with, honestly, was that I needed to watch it again. And then that, kind of gave me the opportunity to let these things sink in. So the things that stood out to me, one, and this is something that we knew even from the last trailer that came out was a year ago now.
Over a year.
Yeah. Like, this is a young Batman. He's making mistakes. He's full of rage. Like, this is a new take on the character, which when we've seen a character so many times, you got to come with something new, and they're doing it. And I will say that, I think that you can see your fair share of like internet comments that Robert Pattinson sometimes isn't the most excitable person in interview format, but you can tell he's leaving it all on the set, so to speak. Like he is in it. Very excited about that. And then we've mentioned this on previous shows that this is really taking after like that Arkham feel. We've got this thuggish Penguin. We've got the vixen Catwoman. We've got the enigmatic Riddler.
Like the Jigsaw style Riddler.
And and I'm going to say one thing as well, that like one thing that stood out to me that maybe didn't stand out to the average person, they actually call him the Riddler in this trailer. Like Batman, because I think in a lot of these movies, as we're trying to be more modern and we're trying to be cool about it, we sort of dance around their comic book names. And it's like,
just call him the Riddler.
Call him the Riddler. That's his name. And they do that. So I love that. I mean, what else? There's so much going on. I think I'm almost like overwhelmed with the amount of things to talk about. But actually, the other thing that I got into like an absolute rabbit hole Googling was I was kind of looking up all the different details of this movie, all the different people involved in it. And then I saw that the budget of this movie is $100 million. That is the same budget as Batman Forever in 1995. That is the same budget. Actually, my fiance and I were dying laughing. It's the same budget as Stuart Little. As Night at the Museum.
Oh my God.
As Cat in the Hat.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, the Mike Myers Cat in the Hat.
I forgot that even existed.
Yeah, so did I.
But all that's to say, like, this is a lower budget than any of the Chris Nolan movies. I think Batman Begins was 150. Like, so I'm just amazed that, like, all of this is going to be shot really practically. It's really like the story, you can tell, is got this rough and tumble edginess to it. And they're doing it kind of rough and tumble in the way that they don't have a large budget. It's really being shot in like this cinematic filmmaker way. You can tell that everybody is so stoked to be a part of it. I'm stoked. I can go on for longer. I'll let you guys chime in. I'm not done talking about it, but go.
Brad, over to you, my friend.
I've been grinding my hands like this below the frame because I'm just like, I'm like trying to contain myself.
My hands are soaked.
Yeah. Why? What the hell's going on?
I don't know, because it's so exciting.
I'm very excited.
Tell us about your mind, body, and soul.
My mind, body, and soul. Well, first of all, I just want to make reference to the fact that I think Rob's t-shirt cost will now have skyrocketed since the airing of the newest trailer, because my boy Rob here has been on this bandwagon before lots of people. That for like well before that or even first trailer came out, he's like, I'm getting a t-shirt. I'm getting a t-shirt. Yeah. I'm getting it. And we were all laughing, and now the new one's out, and I'm like, damn it, I want that t-shirt. So kudos, buddy. But first of all, cut me off if I start going too long, but it's exactly what we wanted. It's exactly what we wanted. Yeah. Like, I mean, it couldn't be more on the nose of what we as a group have talked about since, you know, the Snyderverse Batman and the whole thing. It was kind of like, we played those games, those Arkham games. We've watched, you know, the cartoon adaptations of Batman. We've read the comics, we've done all these things, and we just kept saying, can somebody just give the keys, as it were, to the guys that did the Arkham games? They just had such a grasp on what all of these characters were, while keeping it comic booky but dark and somewhat grounded. And granted, those guys aren't running the show, but at least WB was kind of like, this is it. This is what we need. And Matt Reeves comes in and just goes, this is what I want to do. And they're doing it, and we're actually seeing it on film. And I'm like giddy. I'm actually giddy. My so I guess that's my body. My soul is like fainting. The thing that I think I even said to you guys, the thing that was like a real standout for me right off the hop, and there's a million, but one of the things that I haven't been able to stop talking about it, is Colin Farrell as the Penguin. I don't think people are talking about it enough.
Whoever is in charge of that, like, makeup and costume department, give them the Oscar right now. Like, you would never know. You never know it was him.
You would never know. I even did a quiz. My girlfriend's parents were in town, and they hadn't seen it yet. And I said, do you even know who this is? And I showed them a picture, and they were like, not a clue. I said Colin Farrell, and they just about fell over. The voice, all of it. I just think, so if we're all to kind of on the same page here, that Paul Dano seems to be the one that everyone is really, really hyping here, saying that he's the guy. The fact that they're keeping him under wraps at this point, and we got all that, and I'm like, let's go. We might be, I know we don't want to put cart before the horse here, but we might be looking at one of the best Batman movies ever.
Colin Farrell doing his best Robert De Niro impression with the "I got you, I got you." Yeah, sounds exact like just totally channeling De Niro there.
Yeah. Beautiful. It's so good. Okay. Go Rob. Go Rob. Go Rob.
So for those of you who have not heard me say this before, this will be approximately the 150,000th time Kelly and Brad respectfully. See, I'm so excited I can't even get the words out of my mouth. Have heard me say this. When the Dark Knight trilogy ended, I love those movies. You love those movies. We all love those movies. They will go down as one of the best movie trilogies to come out in all three of our lifetimes.
For sure.
But when it ended, I looked, and this is like 2012. Okay.
Yep.
I was saying to you guys, whenever they do the next Batman set of movies, I want to lean more into like the source material. Mm-hmm. When you look at the Dark Knight trilogy, I think a lot of people look at like the Dark Knight specifically and say like, that's the greatest comic book movie ever made. And it is. Like, it is. Like,
it's one of the best movies, period.
That and maybe Avengers Endgame are like the two top like comic book movies ever made.
Yeah.
But I maintain and say often that my favorite movie in that trilogy is Batman Begins, because that is, out of the three of them, that is a Batman movie. The Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises are movies that feature the Batman characters in the Batman world, but Batman Begins is like a Batman story through and through. And that is what has me so excited about this. This is a straight up Batman movie from the Batman world, just coming off the comic book onto the big screen. Kelly, your point about them calling him the Riddler, I 100% agree. Let's stop dancing around it. Let's call him the Riddler. Robert Pattinson.
I know.
I was one of the people who, when they first cast him, I was like, I don't see it. And a few people, Brad, you being one of them, said to me, forget Twilight. Watch some of the other stuff this guy's done. This guy's got some serious chops.
Big time.
And oh my God, the scenes. So my two favorite things about this trailer kind of go hand in hand. It's Robert Pattinson and the cinematography of Greg Fraser, because the shot where he has the guy up against the pole and he's like tasering the back of his ear, and you can like see his face, and he's like breathing.
Rage,
it's like you can see it through the cowl when they're doing the interrogation scene, and Nigma's talking to him, and he's just like, and then he's like, you can see his like and then he just loses control, punches the glass. It's like he's exuding like that. It's coming. He's
that
wearing the
emotion.
suit. He's wearing a freaking suit, and it's coming out of the suit.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like, oh my God, blown away by him in this, blown away. And then I want to touch on Greg Fraser as well. Oh my God, this movie is shot beautifully. The scene,
incredible.
The scene, the shot in the trailer with him and Catwoman at sunrise. Yeah. And it's just their silhouettes. That is beautiful. That's gorgeous. That's straight out of a comic book. Greg Fraser also did Dune, which we'll be going to see this weekend and reviewing next week. He did Rogue One. And I don't know about you guys, but the scene of Batman walking down, getting bullets shot at him, is eerily reminiscent of the Darth Vader walking down with the lightsaber, poning guys at the end of Rogue One.
Yeah.
Agreed.
100%.
That and the music. My God.
I write notes before the show, just a couple things so I don't forget. I literally have the word music with like 5 exclamation marks after it. Like,
yes.
Yeah, it's going to be the
soundtrack to my life. Like, to me, it was almost like all of the Batman music that we've ever got, whether it was the animated series, whether it was Burton, whether it was Hans Zimmer with Snyder. It was like all of them made like the perfect baby.
Yeah.
And
Michael Giacchino just came along and was like, I'm gonna make so you've got like the dual thing here. Like you've got the slower version of the score with the Nirvana song over top.
Yes.
And then you've got like the one where it kind of ramps up. That's on the back part of the trailer. Oh my God. And then the scene where it ends, where he's like walking, like if you're Robert Pattinson and you show up on set to film that scene where you've got your suit on and you're just walking out of your like badass muscle car Batmobile. And you know, the thing that also blows my mind about this, it leans more fantasy in certain elements with like leaning more into the Batman world, but there's also elements of it that are more grounded. Like the car,
he's driving a real car.
The car,
it's very utilitarian. Like it's very like real world. He put this together himself. Obviously, he's still supposed to have money. He's still a billionaire, but it's like it's a little bit less. You know, he has access to a full arsenal, military, whatever you want to call it, and it's more like he's just got the money and the ingenuity to do it. On his own, which is really cool. Really
and it's like,
cool.
And you know, another thing about this, we know absolutely nothing about what the plot of this movie is going to be.
I have some guesses.
We have some
guesses. I was going to say theories.
No, but they haven't given us anything. And there's elements of it. Like we haven't even seen John Turturro's Carmine Falcone yet. We haven't even seen him.
No.
Oh yeah. No, I know. I thought the same.
We haven't seen this character that Peter Sarsgaard's playing named Coulson, who apparently is like a dirty cop or like a dirty DA.
Right.
We've barely seen Edward Nygma, who, although they list him as being named Edward Nashton in this. Yeah. So I wonder what that's going to be. But at the end of the day, like to your point, Kelly, once again, he's the friggin' Riddler. Let's just call him the Riddler.
There's a question mark in the, like, I think that's what you mean about like fantastical, not the sense that it's like sci-fi or something, but it's like that the Riddler, you know, has the swirl of the
let's not overthink it.
Exactly. Like it's like everybody, you know, there was that little behind the scenes thing right before they showed the trailer, and like what Robert Pattinson says and what all of us would agree to is that this character endures. Like for some reason, there was something about this, you know, Rob, you got a few of the characters on the wall there behind you. For some reason, it is this character that transcends and just and it's for some reason hits with everybody. And it's like, so you don't have to like pretend that we don't know that Batman fights a guy that looks like a penguin and that he fights a guy who leaves riddles. Like, you don't have to skirt around that because we all know and we're all bought in. So just do it well. And do it in a way that, like, to what Brad said, like, that's grounded, like it's grounded in like a world that feels real enough,
familiar, and like
it's just gotta feel real enough. And like that, and you know, I said this about the Christopher Nolan series, and I'll say it about this. It's like they're just taking it seriously, and that is what really helps sell it. So it's like, yes, ultimately this is a grown man who's like, you know, like, hey, I'm the Riddler, but like it's so seriously done that it's totally fine. Like it's totally it works.
There's the shot of him like on the news and he's like live streaming like killing people, which is something that would happen in modern day. Like like I told you guys, like they've as far as I know they've screened it twice, and the feedback that I've seen on social media, Twitter in particular, is people are like, Paul Dano is legitimately like, he's scary. Like it's a like it'll scare your children.
Voice is terrifying.
It's just this very like calm,
Yes.
Like trying to reach you. And
I will say, so you guys know that my favorite Batman villain is the Riddler.
You're like a Riddler stan.
I love the Riddler.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I love board games. I don't know. But something about the Riddler I love. So if I have one concern, small, but one concern coming out of this trailer, there's two elements that are reminding me of the Joker a little bit. So one is that he's being captured by the police, and what's probably a planned, you know, he's submitting to that pretty agreeably. So I'm thinking that he's meaning to, you know. And then the second thing is that, Rob, you mentioned the live streaming thing. That's reminding me of, you know, the Gotham News thing with the, so all that's to say, I have total faith in this movie, but I hope that they do enough that he's a more calm, calculated, less chaotic character than the Joker. That was the only thing I walked away with, is these are pretty similar. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to do it. But I just saw the similarities there, and I worry about the comparisons.
I bow at the
so you're not worried.
Whatever of Matt Reeves.
The gauntlet.
Like, I think that dude knows exactly what he's doing. And I think, yes, there are similarities, but I think they're really going to lean into the I'm smarter than you like aspect of the Riddler. And that's like, you see the scene where he's like standing, and it looks like Bruce has actually done that in the Batcave, where he's like drawn out all the different
I think that's
Riddler's
him.
left him.
Rob, that's the equivalent of match clock.
Yes.
All physical objects man-made.
Yes.
From Batman Forever.
Yes.
It's him. That's definitely, I took the same thing away. Like, that's definitely him working it out. Like, who I think
he just needs Robin to run in and go, someone Russian is going to slip on a banana peel and break their neck.
That's exactly right.
Imagine that's how we get introduced to Robin in the Matt Reeves Batman. I don't know. We'd probably all go, all right. The thing that I'm very intrigued by was some people were starting to make the correlation with Paul Dano's Riddler with the relationship between Kevin Spacey and, like, say,
Seven.
Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman in Seven.
They're really comparing this, and Matt Reeves has said that one of his inspirations for this movie is Seven.
And it's obvious, but not in a heavy-handed way. And anybody that's seen that movie, what's in the box? Like, let's go. Because if that's what we're getting here, I'm like, we're all just on pins and needles. And I love the fact too, very much to the point that we're all trying to make here as well, about the fact that it's like, okay, let's marry that comic book world and not dance around things, but also keeping it grounded. You do get that in a lot of like old timey kind of like film noir crime mob boss kind of stuff. And it's like they've married all of these different kind of genres in such a way that it works, and it works in a way that, you know, you get that comic book, but you also get that grounded, but you also get that film noir, and you get that scariness that we're apparently going to get as well. And
yeah,
whew, that word is being thrown around a lot with respect to this movie. Noir, like everyone is like, this
very
is like
much
a Batman point of view. Like, and you know, another thing too that I loved about this, like, I don't want to get into we're going to talk about this movie so much until it comes out. So we've got tons of time to do fan casting and speculation. We got 2 other things we need to talk about, but like, I love that. Nobody goes to a Batman movie. Also, this movie is apparently going to be 3 hours long. I don't, dude, give me 4, give me 5. I don't care.
Rob's bringing his pillow.
Yeah. So no one goes to a 3-hour Batman movie to watch 90 minutes of Bruce Wayne. Like, we want him in the suit doing Batman,
which it looks
stuff.
like we're getting so much of. Like, it's actually interesting too, like how much you see a snippet of him as Bruce Wayne in this. The one scene where he's reading the newspaper, and then the other scene where he's like, I don't care what happens to me. Like,
you gotta get him some new shades.
Very 90s.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with those shades.
Quickly, because I know we obviously didn't start this podcast when the initial trailer came out. I love the fact that they're not shying away from the eye black. Just show it.
Yes.
Just show it.
Yes, it makes
sense.
Why
does it disappear in Batman Returns? Why does it just disappear all of a sudden?
That's rough.
That's a bad edit.
But actually, you raise a funny point about actually, no, I guess the live stream. I was going to say, I'm like, do we know what time period this movie is? But I guess the live streaming kind of negates that it is going to be modern day if he's going to be live streaming. So,
right. Yes.
Okay. So he's just being a little vintage.
He just picked up a cheap pair at the corner store.
How do we know?
How do we know right now?
How do we know that there's no scene in the movie prior to that where he's like following somebody and he just goes and buys a pair of shades to put on to sit while he's reading his newspaper? We don't
endless theories, Rob.
Yeah, endless speculation.
Wow.
I'd also like to point out I'd also like to point out that this movie hasn't even hit theaters yet, will not hit theaters until March 4th, and it has already been greenlit for a sequel. So get ready for that. I want to close on this and then we'll move on to the other 2. One thing I don't like, I saw a lot of this weekend, and I don't like it, is, oh, well, this is going to be better than the Dark Knight trilogy. Oh, well, this is going to be better. And it's like, I don't like comparing. Like, we don't like the Dark Knight trilogy is its own thing. It's different. The Burton movies are their own thing. Affleck and the DCEU is its own thing.
Sadly.
Oh, we're talking about that.
We're gonna circle into it. Don't worry.
So,
okay, good.
But you know what? I did draw a comparison, but it was a positive one.
Okay.
There was a certain level of epicness from the Dark Knight movies and watching that Dark Knight trailer. And when I was first watching this, the moment where that sort of like door comes up and the Riddler's on the other side and the 2 of them are talking to each other, I'm like, oh, we're going back to this like epic, like the 2 of them are facing each other and that he's gonna like it's just like we're going back to that level of epicness. I can't wait.
Yes.
Moving on. Kelly just referenced the DCEU. 2 minutes ago, Brad referenced Batman Returns. Before we get into the Flash trailer, I've been someone who previously has been like, oh, well, you know, I feel bad for the Flash, like putting Batman in everything. And like, here we go. Everything is Batman. Everything is Batman. But something dawned on me this weekend after the Batman trailer came out. And watching the amount of crossover that it had, given my other shows that I do and my other interests I have, I follow a lot of different people on social media, like hockey people, football people, music people, whatever. And the amount of people who I've never seen discuss anything comic book movie related, sharing the trailer for the Batman was like crazy. Like everyone's like, oh my God, this looks incredible.
Yeah.
So it dawned on me. DC and Marvel have built this epic world that has crossed over into like pop culture and like society. And it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe is incredible. There will never be anything like it again. These are household names now.
Mm-hmm.
But DC and Warner Brothers has the trump card.
Oh yeah.
They have the one character that will never, no character that Marvel has, perhaps maybe Spider-Man.
I was gonna say that's pretty.
Will reach the heights that the Batman can reach.
Right.
So if you want to put Michael Keaton in the Flash, because you think that's gonna get more butts in the seats,
just do it.
You do it. So they debut the new Flash trailer at DC Fandome, and it does very much lean heavily into the Michael Keaton Batman world. The first shot is him and what looks to be another version of him pulling up to the old Wayne Manor.
Yes.
Then you see him in the cave and there's like the switch covered in cobwebs, and it's the same switch from when he was like, be careful, and pulls it down, and Vicky Vale's standing there on the edge. And it's like, and then there's been a lot of discussion that this movie is going to quote unquote reboot the DCEU. And I don't think there's going to be a reboot happening. I think this is going to sort of put an end to that. And the Flash will just continue on in his own world. And Michael Keaton's Batman will apparently be part of that Flash world.
Which is cool.
I don't know if you guys noticed this, but there's a cowl surrounded by blood on the ground in this trailer. That is Ben Affleck's cowl. That is not Michael Keaton's cowl. That is the Ben Affleck Batman cowl.
Oh yeah. So here's my theories on this particular teaser, trailer, sneak peek, whatever the heck you want to call it. Ben Affleck is going to die in this. That is the only reason why he would agree after the nightmare of Justice League, self-admittedly that he said nightmare of Justice League. That's the only way that he would have come back to do this, because he is so probably sick and tired of having people coming and approaching him and asking him, when are you going to be Batman again? Are you going to be he's out, right?
Yeah.
Then the other piece, I'm going to need our listeners to put it in the comments, but I'm pretty sure that DC just kind of like rebranded what they're calling their universe. So it's no longer like the DC extended universe. It's called like the DC multiverse something or other. I'll need someone to give me the exact details. But so what that tells me is I'm in agreement with you, Rob. It's not a reboot. It's basically kind of doing sadly, Marvel's still first, but it's like they're just opening up the world of like anything's possible. And anyone who has been in a DC related movie can be related to this universe, because there's a multitude of possibilities now. That's what I view it as. It's going to be a Flash story.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get the Flashpoint, arc.
Yes.
But I think it's also serving a dual service of saying goodbye to Ben. Thank you for your service. And he's, running out there, packing his bags. He's stoked. And then just opening the door to anything.
Yes. I think, not to cut you off, Brad, but I just want to tack onto what Kelly was saying there.
Yeah.
I think what they're going for is kind of like, you're right. I don't think it's called the multiverse, but it's a multiverse that they're doing.
Yeah.
And in the comics, they've sort of done this with like the different Earths, so like Robert Pattinson's Batman would be like Earth 1, and then this one would be like Earth 2 with the Michael Keaton one. So you can have two Batmans going at the same time. You can have a standalone Joker universe where Batman doesn't exist going on over here. You can have Aquaman. You can have Black Adam. You can have Wonder Woman, and they don't need to be like, let's move on. Listen, Marvel did it. They did it well. It's amazing. It's so good. You don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to do that. You don't. Brad, your thoughts on the Flash trailer?
Well, the thing I'll say is, all due respect to everybody that's been involved in the DCEU and everything else, I've kind of been out for a while. I honestly have. I'm just a little burnt out. I felt it was all a little rushy, and I thought that there were so many positives. Casting number one across the board when they initially, and even now for the people who are still involved, Jason Momoa, Ezra Miller, etc. but it was just a little like, ugh, like I was a little done. But this newest trailer honestly gave it a little CPR for me. I didn't think it was possible. It really did. It was like beating on the chest, like breathe. And I am very excited. I have to be honest. I saw the Keaton, the back half, I guess, of the cowl, and I just about lost my mind. And even at the end, I actually burst out laughing at the end of the trailer.
Yeah.
Because of the little obvious, I guess, top of the
Batmobile.
89 Batmobile, and he whips it off. And I actually verbatim said, because what was it? Oh my God.
Holy shit. And
that's what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I literally did that at like almost the exact moment he was doing it. And so it was a brilliant a little teaser, actually. Whoever put that together, well done.
Yeah.
Listen, I think that's a great way of putting it, Kelly. I think that the fact that, we might have just kind of gone, okay, DC's just kind of go and Warner Brothers just kind of went, you know what, we kind of whiffed a little bit, but it doesn't necessarily mean throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Because that was always the worst part, was the fact that some of these movies and what have you weren't really landing. And it was like, it seems like everything should be there.
Yeah.
Like the casting is great. Some of like a lot of the graphics and the world building, once they finally got to it, was there.
We have to put some plot in here somewhere.
Oh my God, we forgot to introduce this person. There he is. So I'm very happy for the people who, like we just said, that are still involved, are maybe gonna get their chance to be put out there in a way that's much more digestible and entertaining, frankly. And you want to care about these characters, and quite frankly, in a lot of the cases before, we didn't. And even just those little things that they're doing with, you're already yanking at the heartstrings by bringing Keaton back, and just by association, I now already care more about the Flash, period. So to do it, I thought was brilliant.
The opening shot where they're driving up to the manor, the music in the background, there's little hints of the music from when he and Vicky Vale are having the emotional heart-to-heart in the Batcave.
Yes.
From Batman 89. I wanted to touch on a few shots in this trailer before we move on from it. First of all, the new look suit, which is very like, he's got the gold boots. He's got like his helmet seems to be more of like an actual helmet. He's got like the lightning going up the suit. It's much more like electrified looking. Right. We see him approaching someone who seems to be like strung up on a wall, who I assume is Supergirl. We see him.
It is her in the last the last shot of the trailer, the three of them standing there. It's two versions of Barry, and I have my theories about if that's actually two versions of Barry or not. And then Supergirl is standing there in her kind of Henry Cavill-esque.
Yeah, it's the same look as
vibe.
Henry Cavill.
Very much.
Also, the other version of Barry in that shot you're talking about, Kelly, remember when Andy Muschietti posted that picture on Instagram? That's what he's wearing.
Yes.
So it looks like he doesn't have a suit. He doesn't have a suit. Yes.
Over. Yeah.
They've taken that suit and sort of made him a Flash suit, which honestly makes me feel a little better when I saw that. Yeah. I was like, okay, that makes more sense and less like less shameless as it seems.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm excited for this movie. Like, I think the story of Flashpoint is a really interesting and fun one. Like, I haven't read the Flashpoint comic, but I've watched the animated movie, and that's one of the best DC animated movies, in my opinion. I think it's going to be good, and we're all going to freak out. And listen, if you're going to have two cinematic Batmen going at the same time, these are the two. Like,
this is what we want.
Perfect. Yes, it's perfect.
Yes. The one thing I'll say, Brad, you were talking about sort of the perfection of the casting across the DCEU. I will say, for me, Ezra Miller's at the bottom of the list of who I think they've casted in terms of like perfection. Like, Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. Like, she was born to play that role. Yeah. So no, that's not to say I don't think he's a good actor. I think I'm interested to see where they go, and I'm interested to see these different versions of the character, and possibly because I like, you know, through the different animated movies that I've watched, or even like little video games that I've played over the years, or the different series, I like a sort of confident, cocky Flash. And they've taken him into the direction of like, he's kind of a nerd outsider, you know, kind of quirky guy. So it's not my favorite take on the character thus far, but hey, they've got a whole movie to change my mind. And also I'm obviously very excited about Michael Keaton, but Brad, I'm not as won over yet by this snippet that we're still not living in the chaos of the DC you know, formula. So I left this with looks good, tempered expectations.
It's got a pulse for me. You're still flatlining at this point.
Yeah.
Like they're pulling the sheet. This is like the last hurrah for you.
Yes.
But listen,
Kelly, go ahead, Brad. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, listen, I completely understand, because it's been very tempered as far as what we've been expecting from the DCEU for a little while. So it's for me, like I said, I'm very much more excited for this than I think I've been for the last few things that have come out. But that being said, I'm still trepidatious, cautiously optimistic. Let's say that, because like I said, I think there's going to be some cool elements, but I also do think that we've been hurt before. Yeah. We've been hurt before, and I'm careful now.
Two things for me to put a bookend on this. Kelly, I'm with you on Ezra Miller. Like I don't love him in the role either. However, I much preferred him in the Snyder Cut. I thought he had a much more fleshed out storyline in that, and it was like he had more screen time, and he played a more prominent role on the team. So he was
they built him out a little more, like, and that's what I'm hoping is going to happen here. If they are in fact doing the Flashpoint thing, we're going to see the relationship with his mother. We'll probably get a little bit more with his father, and that helps build him out a little bit more. In that first cut of Justice League, which we all know was a complete dumpster fire, like there's no other way to put it. He was just there to serve as comic relief and do like a joke, and also really got the nasty end of like Joss Whedon's gross humor, landing on Gal Gadot and things like that. So that is not my, you know, my measuring stick for him. I do look at the Justice League Snyder Cut as a more fair representation of what he's able to do. But even then, like I said, they've still got him in that nerdy spot, which it's not my favorite take. So let's see where they go with it.
Yeah. And lastly, my expectations are not they're like yours. I'm not like through the roof. I go in sort of like let's see, like I've been burned by you guys before. However, I'm very, very interested, and you won't be surprised to hear this. Like, look at the t-shirt I'm wearing. I'm very, very interested to see where this, like, Affleck dies, and like, does whatever is happening need a Batman? So does he start going through the different dimensions in search of another Batman because Batman dies?
It's
like to me, it just seems like that.
I hope not.
No, you hope not. I think so.
I hope not. I like that this is separate. Like I just think if you look at, like, compare the tones of those two trailers.
I was gonna say
that would be so hard to bring them together. Now, one thing that has me going like, oh my god, what does this mean? I know we're not getting to every little bit of DC fandom. There was so much there, but there was a very small segment about the impending Batwoman movie. Yes. And the creators there said, and the real Batman is going to be in it. So it's like, so to me, I take that as it's probably going to be Keaton.
Yes. That's been rumored for a while that they're essentially going to do. It's going to be Batman Beyond, essentially, but swap in Batgirl.
Yeah.
I love
waiting for that.
Keep Pattinson out of it. I think
no. I didn't mean like crossover with Pattinson. I meant like Affleck dies.
Yeah.
Right. So whatever the issue is in the movie requires the help of
right.
Batman.
Okay, I get what you mean.
Yes.
So
I
he
thought you meant the
starts-
crossover with the Batman.
Yeah.
Oh
with
God,
Robert
no!
Pattinson as well.
Stay the hell away from that. Nobody go anywhere near that.
Don't you dare touch it.
Nobody go anywhere near that.
Dude, I watched your shirt, Rob. We were scared.
Sorry, I should have said like the word.
Yes.
Just the word.
Okay.
Also,
Okay.
look at behind me. As you guys know, I'm a pretty big Superman stan as well. If I hear the word Superman uttered once in that Pattinson movie, I'm gonna go, no.
Yeah. Yes. Leave it alone.
No, so that's what I was trying to say. Yeah, because you guys were sitting there, and I was like, that wasn't what I said. No, I think that the arc of the story is going to be for whatever whoever the
Absolutely.
villain is, Reverse Flash, whatever. Bruce Wayne is the key to stopping him, and so this Ben Affleck Bruce Wayne is going to die. So he's going to go through a bunch of different universes. It would be so cool. We're not going to get it, but it would be great. Like if they could throw in like, here's Clooney, here's Kilmer, here's Bale, here's whatever.
Oh,
and then he settles on, yeah.
Yes, I've been thinking. I was like, can we squeeze in Bale?
There's
even
no
if
way
we
Bale
can't,
would do it.
Even
No, there's no way.
even
There's no
just
way
like a
Bale would do
quick little. Although, yeah, I guess he just signed a contract over there with the enemy with Marvel.
Yeah.
But also, he's been pretty steadfast that like I would have
done.
kept going if Nolan wanted to keep going, and as soon as Nolan was out, I was out.
Yeah.
So that's kind of whatever. Anyways, moving on. We gotta get to the third trailer that we saw. I did not realize the cast of this Black Adam movie, and by the cast I mean like some of the other characters that are in this, like
Pierce.
Hawkman is in this.
Yeah.
Pierce is playing Dr. Fate.
Yes.
Mhm.
Like, and he looks great.
He
Yeah.
looks so good.
Yeah, he looks great.
Yeah.
He looks great. But man, so we get this teaser that's like, and full disclosure, I am not super familiar with the character of Black Adam. Like that whole kind of world, like the Shazam area of DC, it's never really been my favorite thing. With comic book movies, I usually run to like see them, and Shazam, it took me a while to see Shazam because why did it take me so long to see Shazam?
I don't know why.
There's a
Why,
kid.
Rob?
Oh,
harkening
Of
back
course,
to hey, check out last
right.
week's
Yes.
episode, everyone.
right.
there's a
yes.
kid.
Rob hates children.
Yeah. There's
Listen,
a
most
kid.
movies are plagued by it. They bring in
Yeah.
a kid, and all of a sudden you're going, "Oh well."
Yeah, like I don't.
I have to watch some mediocre child acting now.
Yes,
Exactly.
yeah.
So it's like I'm not really familiar with the world of Black Adam, but I do know The Rock is a badass. I do know he looks Herculean in that outfit.
Yeah.
It's Herculean when he's
In
walking down the
general.
street.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think this is just gonna be like, again, I really hope it's its own thing. Like there's people like I know in the comics, I think you may get a crossover at some point with Zachary Levi, just because those two characters are so intertwined in the
You
comics.
definitely
yeah.
are.
I mean,
Definitely
they
are.
say Shazam in the trailer. So
Yes.
Yes,
So
yes, it's
and-
gonna happen.
And Superman has a long history with Black Adam as well.
Very
Mhm.
But I don't know, like that remains to be seen. But listen, I think this is just going to be a fun movie that like you'll go and see and it'll be cool. And as long as they don't like jam too much of like external DC stuff into it, I think it'll be great.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kelly. I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I was gonna say, like, one, I think it's like, well, first of all, like Dwayne Johnson gets butts in seats. Like that's it's just a fact at this point. You put Dwayne in anything and people are showing up. I think it'll be interesting to watch him be like kind of an anti-hero. Like it's been a minute since he hasn't played the good guy. I'm trying to think of if he's been a villain, like Scorpion King. He was,
Scorpion King, yeah.
like,
But then he got a spin-off and you started to kind of like the guy. It's hard to say.
right, yeah. So he would have been the bad guy in The Mummy Returns, but then he was a good guy in Scorpion
But then
King. Yeah, see,
we found
had to-
out why
we had to
he was
redeem
the
him.
way he was.
Exactly. So anyway, so it'll be really interesting to watch him actually kind of be this anti-hero. I had the same thought where I'm just like, this man is gigantic. And he literally electrifies a man to become a skeleton.
And then dust.
That's pretty badass. I think the thing where I was like kind of just like scratching my head a little bit, and again, we got a long ways to go until we get there probably, was to your point, Rob, if there is going to be a crossover at some point between Zachary Levi's Shazam and this character, I'm thinking, ooh, tonally, this is very different. Like,
yes.
Zachary Levi's having a good time, you know, blowing pink bubble gum and cracking jokes and stuff, and he's, you know, Mortal Kombat fatality, like that guy. Like, so I was like, that was the only thing that I just sort of had a moment of like, oh, like, how's this gonna work? But that being said, we just talked all about how there's this new multiverse of opportunity and of options. So maybe they never do cross paths. Maybe it's a different version of Shazam. Who knows? Like, they can do anything now. But also the other thing that just stood out to me, maybe you guys know, I couldn't find it, but like, this movie was announced like 4 years ago.
Oh, The Rock has been discussing it even longer than that.
Yeah, so it's like, that's the funny thing, is that he like every year he shows up to like these events or he's talking about it, and I'm always like, hasn't this been going on for like a decade now?
Happening?
Like, is this actually happening? And it is.
Yeah.
July 29th, 2022. It's gonna be in theaters.
Well, that honestly, Kelly, that's a perfect segue, because that was gonna be my major point about this whole thing was, I think that little teaser, again, whatever we want to call it, I call it a teaser, is, I can see the vision. I can already see it. Like, you know what I mean? So my thing right off the hop is I started thinking about the fact that it was like, this is a passion project. This was Dwayne Johnson's baby, and it has been, like we just said, for quite some time. And he has so much sway in Hollywood now that he goes, this is what I want to do. And they do it, and they roll out the red carpet for him, and they give him what he wants to do. And I would take that any day of the week over the regular studio system of going chef, trying to make something to fit for, you know, every single little detail, and it ends up just being a mess.
Yeah.
This is so clearly Dwayne Johnson's baby, and I'm just like, that one shot, even down to the shot that I'm sure they showed for the teaser, I'm sure it was his choice to do that. And I, again, very much like the Flash trailer, I wasn't really, my expectations weren't that high. I was obviously interested to see, but I was very impressed. I was like, well, this looks cool. This looks very cool. Yeah. This just looks like more comic book accurate, fun, butts in seats. Give us some fun, give us some action, give us what we want. That's what that character is. Dwayne Johnson clearly understands what that character is, and he's going to give it to us. Let's go.
Yep. And Pierce looks incredible.
It does.
I love how in like the little kind of feature right beforehand, he's like, I did 4 James Bond movies.
Yes.
Nothing compares to this.
I know.
I was like, damn.
Part of me, I know, I would kind of get to the same thing. I was like, oh, what? That's a bold statement, Pierce.
He looks so distinguished.
He does. Oh, you know what? Honestly,
he's a handsome man.
If Andy Serkis wasn't available, cast that man as Alfred. Get him in.
Yes.
Like, he totally looks like Alfred now. Like, but like, you could buy him as that like ex-military Alfred.
Yes.
Yeah.
We circled to Alfred really quick. I meant to mention that in the last segment.
Yes.
Because poor Andy Serkis got dumped on a few episodes ago. Yeah. And I just want to say, because I kept saying it, I was like, I love that man. And he was very, obviously it wasn't in that trailer a ton, but he just adds this layer of, I don't know. Like he adds something to everything.
Je ne sais quoi.
Oh, may we? Yes. But he's so grounded. And I'm trying to even remember exactly what he says in the trailer, but he just says something like, dear God, when it's going on. And I was like, yes.
You notice the scar on the side of his eye.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they're definitely going the ex-military
very much
route with him.
And I was like, yes, Andy Serkis, good for you. Yes. Okay, bounce right back. Okay, I'm done.
So in summation, everything leads back to Batman.
Yes. Everything. Yes. Before we get out here, I just want to touch on 2 things. They did show 2 featurettes. One for the Shazam sequel. Did you guys know that Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu are the villains in that movie?
Did not know. Yeah. Did not know.
I was like, Helen Mirren is the villain in this movie.
Speaking of classy and adding, again, more je ne sais quoi, Helen Mirren, I'll watch her in whatever you want. I didn't know I was going to see her in like some sort of superhero. So how old is she now? And I mean that with all the respect in the world. She looks fantastic, and I'm just like, hell yeah, that already makes me want to watch it a little bit more.
And that first movie's a lot of fun. Like, you know, I did. Yeah, like it is a great, you know, for the jokes that we made earlier, but it's like, it's a great movie for like going with your family and stuff. Like it was a lot of fun. So I think it'll probably be a similar thing. And I love that they have all like the adult versions of the kids back. Like Adam Brody back in I was like, yeah, like it's
yeah. Yes.
The other quick featurette we got was for Aquaman 2. I'm really excited about this. I really liked Aquaman 1. They like everyone's back. This is a point Kelly and I could do an episode of this all in our.
I think there could be an episode where I just sit back and I just eat some popcorn and watch you two go to town.
I really liked it. I think it's gonna be like, I think Momoa is amazing. They've changed the way Black Manta looks. What's his name? He's escaping me. Morpheus in the new Matrix movie.
Oh man. Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
Yes, Kelly.
Yeah.
He's
very good.
He's back as Black Manta, and they've sort of like modernized his Black Manta suit, so he looks much more comic accurate now. And it's just, I think it'll be fun. I liked it. You know why? You know what makes me happy about that? Just in closing and to come full circle on this episode, they've done with that character exactly what they did with Wonder Woman.
Yep.
We're just going to push these crappy Justice League movies that we were in kind of away off to the side.
Just kidding.
We're just going to tell our own story with this character over here.
Yes.
And so that makes me happy. And I think, listen, the future is bright for DC, because I feel like they just got to figure out what the hell they're doing with Superman. Because I'm sorry, a TV show doesn't cut it. But
no, not at all.
Now that they've gotten away from this idea of everything needs to be connected, we need to do the Justice League, we need to do all this, like, and are now just like, you know what? And I think another hotly contested movie that we'll get into at some point, Joker. I think the success of Joker helped them see we can tell these one-off stories.
100%.
And people will come and see these movies, and we don't need to worry how this Joker connects to this Batman. Like, we don't need to do that, right?
Just go for it. Yeah.
I think, like, again, this could be a whole episode in itself, but I think like what the difference between the DC universe and the Marvel universe, and why I think they're doing the right thing now, is you've got characters like Batman and Joker who are regular Joes, who are just, you know, fighting and like, you know, fashioning bombs and things like that. And then you go to all the way to the other side of the spectrum to someone like Black Adam, who can, you know, electrify a guy with his hands and turn him into a skeleton. And so it's just so hard to like bring that all together. Whereas I feel that in the Marvel universe, like the characters, while some of them are more powerful than others, they do a better job of sort of leveling them all out, that you feel like they're all like, they could all be in the same room together and it kind of makes sense. They're just so overpowered on the DC side. So I'm with you. It's like, just, it's, and like, I've got, you know, you just mentioned two movies that I have not a large amount of affection for, but I do appreciate the way that they're just parceling them out into their own worlds. And then, like, you know, what we're seeing with the Flash, if it makes sense to cross something over and bring them all together, then great, do it. But that doesn't mean we need to bring everybody else into the mix and have a party. It's just storytelling first.
Always. Like in any movie, it has to be first. And I think that was definitely something that was lost in the last couple, you know, like you said, like we talked about Justice League and what have you. I completely agree. I think that there's much more of and again, hand it to Warner Brothers. They tried something, it didn't work. Fine. But then they've also now gone, okay, I don't think we need to throw this whole thing away. How do we do this how do we keep what worked and get rid of what didn't? And I actually think they're doing a very good job. I think there's actually been you know, we've talked about retcon before. I mean, this is almost like its own kind of retcon within just Warner Brothers as far as how they're handling all these franchises. I'm here for it. I think they're right on track for what they should be doing, and it feels separate from what Marvel is doing, and it doesn't just make you feel like, oh, cool, like we've seen this formula already, like we can read what's happening. So I think they're doing a really interesting thing here where they're kind of letting them all breathe on their own.
And they've got some good, like these two fandoms, like yes, like they're a bit long. There's some stuff that's kind of tough to sit through, but like the consensus coming out of it is largely positive. Like people come out and are like, well, I'm really excited for this, right? And it's like it's really awesome.
I truly don't think anything looked bad. Like even, I joke about how I don't like the first Aquaman movie. That little featurette looks fun, and Jason Momoa is perfectly cast. Everything looks great. I agree with you, Brad. Like they're turning the bus around.
And with that, we are going to end this week's episode in our DC Fandome review. We are going to be back next week to review Dune. Brad is very excited about this episode.
Very excited. I might be bringing my blankie next week to the theater. I'm so excited.
This is going to be an interesting review because, the movies that we've reviewed so far on here, it's like we all kind of went in like understanding the world and like had preconceived notions. And like, I'm going into this one blind. Like I've never seen the original Dune. I something like this, like it's like Denis Villeneuve doing it and the great job that he did on Blade Runner, and how this kind of has a similar sort of feel with the way it's shot. It entices me, and the cast, like just top to bottom, is like just an unbelievable cast. So that is what's drawing me to go see this movie. It's not like I have any sort of understanding of this world or these characters. Like this is like I'm actually kind of excited about that. Like I'm not going in and thinking like, oh, well, they did this in the original one. And it's like, I know nothing about anything. Go.
When you start hearing words amongst the critics of like this generation's Star Wars, it's like, okay, here we go. And I mean, talk about a cast list. Like, again, obviously we will be getting into all of this next week, but my God, it's just a laundry list of incredible actors. And I think this has a chance to be the hit of the season. I really do. I'm excited to review it.
And you don't want to miss our review of it next week. So in order to not miss it, hit that like and subscribe button below. Also go to our Instagram at Talkin Pop. That's where we do all of our sort of talking on social media.
Talkin.
Yes.
Hey.
Oh man, the way these end is like sometimes I hit it a home run. Like I say this on all my podcasts. Sometimes when I leave, I hit a home run with these sort of like and subscribe things, and then other times it just turns into this word salad. And then by the end of it, I'm like, you know what? Just like and subscribe. Just like and
watch
subscribe.
Our stuff, okay, yes. Everyone. We want views, okay? Thank you.
Yes. Just like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. Enjoy our discussion, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for checking out the show, everybody.
Bye, guys. Vengeance.
Oh.
If we didn't get nailed for the copyright, I would have the dun, 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 play us out on this episode. See you next week, everybody.
Bye, guys.